This is the Tabernacle Podcast with the Adams and myself, Martin. I get to host today. Kind of exciting stuff. Good to see you guys. It's been a minute since we've been here. Enough to where there were cobwebs when I walked in the room that are now all over me.
Can we be super clarifying on how long it's been? It's been enough weeks that the keypad on the studio podcast room did not work. Hammers, chisels, knives were employed.
And my potential...
Deployed. Deployed.
Yes.
They all were utilized.
Yes.
In order for us to get to this spot today.
And my best overall skill set was shown.
Yes.
Old Martin got to come out
into
today.
the door.
Yeah, this is what I did best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw Adam Ray walking through the lobby with a hammer and a crowbar, and he just said the door won't work.
Tracy was concerned about the future of the door.
Right.
The door has not been injured beyond repair.
And she asked the right question.
Mm-hmm.
Did you check the batteries?
Yeah.
But apparently you can't get to the batteries if you're not inside it.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like that's a design
Seems
flaw.
like a flaw in the system.
Yeah.
But
I'm not entirely sure they're getting a shout out today, but I'm going to tell you that's not the way that I would have built that device.
That's good. Yeah, I don't even know who made it, so I can't dog them.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, it has been a full month plus since we've been together doing the podcast. And I find I've gotten a bunch of people that told me they didn't know we were taking a month break. And I'm like, well, do you listen to the podcast? Because I think we said, I can't guarantee it was said, but I was told it was said.
And I think we've been doing the podcast for 2 years now.
Yeah.
And we've taken a break every August, I think.
And there you go.
Oh, we took the break
Every
in July
August.
this year.
And we took it in July this year. And
okay.
that's why, see, people,
Sorry, people.
we get stuck in a rhythm, right?
Yeah.
We know. But yeah, either way, we're back. I'm excited to be back. I've missed this. It's a ton of fun. John is out of town right now. He is doing the Lord's work. We don't want to rag on him. We just want to rag on him a little bit because he's not doing it here. So, but today we get to talk about a subject near and dear. But before we get there, I got a text message from Adam Ray that I thought was interesting enough to be kind of our kickoff starter. Because he sent me a Spotify song. And when I didn't get a chance to look at it, it was my son's birthday. We're at the fair. We're doing all the fun stuff. And by the time I finally got to look at it, I was more than a little surprised. Because if you had to guess, Adam Ray sending me a song of music, what would you think? Give me a genre, maybe.
Old-time gospel.
Old-time gospel. Like a quartet would be my thought. No,
Yeah.
Southern gospel. Something you'd love, probably.
Yeah.
To be fair.
I do enjoy that. Yeah.
But this wasn't. This was a rap song, which he knows that I really enjoy. And it was an awesome one.
Did Addie send it to you?
Mm-mm.
No?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask him to tell how he found this one. But it was a song by a guy called Gifted Hands, I think. Never heard of him. And I do like Christian rap. If you hate it out there, I get it. People don't like genres of music, but I love this. I grew up on really bad rap. So when I found out there was non-hokey Christian rap, I loved it. And the song was awesome. It was vertical. It was powerful. It was well done. It was One of Them Ones, I think is the name of it.
One of them ones.
But it was cool. And how did you find that song?
So I was watching a reel and someone was talking about this artist. So his the artist's name is Gifted Hands because he has no hands.
Oh,
and
I missed that part.
Yeah. So the album is Childhood Trauma. Intriguing, right? But someone was speaking to the fact that a lot of his songs are introspective, kind of like more NF, that's all about himself, very limited vertical. There's some vertical aspect to it at some point, typically, but not always. And those songs, very gifted artist, those songs are in the 200,000 listens, approximately. And then you have the song that is highly vertical, doctrinal, scriptural, proclaiming who Christ is all throughout. And it's phenomenal to listen to. And I'm not a rap guy, but I appreciate Christ being elevated. And so I'm listening to this song and then I go back and look at the views, which are the listens, which is what the point of the reel was. And it's over 2 million in a very short time, which is such a good reminder for us as well. Our responsibility is to elevate Christ.
Yeah.
Our thoughts, our proclamations need to be vertical, not just always self-proclaiming.
Yeah. I just thought it was cool because he told me that part this morning. I didn't even know it, but the album name was actually what hit me, because as I'm looking at this, I was like, Adam Ray sent me an album called Childhood Trauma, and literally listening to this album was fairly traumatic, because I got some connection points to this dude.
Yeah.
So I do have hands. I didn't realize he didn't, but like, it's just some of the stuff he's talking about. It was powerful. And that being kind of the long segue to say, it was interesting because most of the best music I've listened to always comes from a place of somebody being willing to be vulnerable and put out like what has broken them, what has hurt most, and like these challenging parts of life. It was just a good reminder, like, life is hard for everybody. This dude, I'll probably never meet him, but his life is something I couldn't even imagine. What's behind your eyes, what's behind everybody's eyes. John always says straight crazy, but there's also a life that we've lived, and life isn't easy. It can be really, really challenging. And I think that was just got me thinking this morning about our subject today. We're going to talk a little bit about, it's a broad subject, and I don't want to relegate it down to, we're going to talk about the Ruck March. We're going to talk about why the Ruck March and what the Ruck March represents. But I'm not the expert there. You are. So we're going to spend some time talking through that, but I just want to start by Adam saying thank you, because you've put this thing together 5 years now.
Yeah, because it's been, was this the 6th year?
I think this is, math's
Crazy.
hard.
Yeah.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
We're going to go with that.
Yeah.
But it is.
It's been 7 years since. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Since where this all began. And we'll get into a little bit of that, but I know that we'll kind of point back to that.
Sure.
But I'm interested to know why. Like, give us a little bit of the history of the Ruck March, and then we'll kind of jump off from that into the subject matter a little bit deeper.
Yeah. So, it was about 7 years ago that my nephew, Caden, took his own life. And out of that, Samantha and I, my wife, wanted to do something, and a Ruck March is something that I had done in the military. And so my biggest taste of doing a Ruck March was, I had been in the military for like 9 years at this point. I went from active duty into the Guard, and we had a senior NCO that came in, and he was like, hey, we're going to do a pre-ranger course for anyone that's interested. And so a lot of people don't know is I was Air Force, security forces, but through the Air Force, you can go to like the Army Ranger School. But you've got to obviously pass all the things first. And so myself and 2 other guys decided that we'd give it a shot. Spoiler alert, I did not finish in time. Okay. So this is, I can't like pretend I did. But myself and 2 other guys did it, and I won't say their names because I think they're working for other agencies now, and I don't want to give their identities, but the beginning of it is just push-ups, sit-ups. You have to do a certain amount, and then a 5-mile run, which are in your PT gear, so it's not that big of a deal. 5-mile run within a certain amount of time. Did all that, it was fine. The very next thing you do is immediately following your 5-mile run, you change into our ABUs at the time, ABUs at the time, which is just your combat uniform, and you put your ruck on, and you start a Ruck March. And the Ruck March is 12 miles with your rucksack and a weapon. And we start going, and I'm like 2 or 3 miles in, and I'm like, I'm in real trouble, right? Like, I'm not keeping the pace. There's just no way that I'm going to make the time. And I know this at this point already, like this is kind of pointless now. But I was with another one of the guys. One dude who did finish in time was way out in front of us. Dude was gone. But I was with another guy, and we're both like, there's no way we can finish this, but let's not quit. Let's just keep going. And so we keep going. And I remember distinctly there's a point, and I've heard a lot of like special forces guys say this, and just military guys in general, that like my brain is my worst enemy, because my brain is telling me to stop. Like, this is not worth it. It's dumb. You're tired. You're hurting. You've already done all the other stuff. You're not going to make it. So what's the point, right? But I remember being with this other individual, and we're talking to each other the whole time going, we can press. Let's go just another step, keep going. And so we obviously don't make the time, but we finish the ruck. And I remember that in just the idea of how much more I was able to do because my bro was with me. he had his own pack. We're carrying these weights, and we're going. I don't remember what the weight was in the rucksack, but we were going, and we at least got some cool pictures out of it. But we didn't make it, but we didn't quit.
Right.
And to me, that was the biggest thing, and how amazing it was, just how much more I could do just because he was with me and we were just in it together. Because had I been alone, I probably would have quit 3 miles in of the 12.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You already knew you weren't going to make it?
I wasn't going to make it. I'm tired. Like my shoulders are hurting already, like all of these things. Even though I had been training for this, I still wasn't ready. But we finished it, and it was a great experience. And then so when Caden passed, and if you want more information like on how that played out with Caden, there's 2 other podcasts that will tell you a bunch about it on the Tab podcast. Bill's Change Life Story, my brother, his is number 126. That's a great one to listen to. He talks a lot about it. And then mine from way back in number 37 talks about it as well. So you can go there for more information on it. But
a little bit of a disclaimer there. If you go back to listen to those, like, bring the tissues, be prepared. Like, there's
probably don't have kids with you.
Yeah, they go into a lot more depth.
Yeah,
but they're powerful, and they've been life changing.
Yeah. So with the Ruck March, though, we, like, as Samantha and I were talking about this, and like, man, we don't want this pain to be wasted. We don't want this to be for nothing, right? And so, and this was even before really God had started to really, like, transform my life through this. But I just wanted to do something, and so I remembered that Ruck March, and was just thinking about, man, like, what if we did a Ruck March where you have to, like, everyone carries a pack, except if the 3 of us are on a team, which we encourage people to do, is, hey, come with the team, come with people, because one of the rules is you're not allowed to ruck alone. I don't care if you ruck or run or walk, whatever you do, you can't do it alone, and have one pack and share that weight. Because just the same, like, through life of, like, both of you guys have been there for me already. You've been there for me for a long time with stuff.
I would have been there more for him. It's just that I've only known him for a short time.
Correct.
Just for clarity.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he can carry more things. So.
Yeah, he is stronger.
Yeah.
But the burden, the weights that we carry in life, we were never designed to do this alone.
Right.
I mean, we just talked about in Acts of having those gospel friends. So if you missed that one, go back and listen to that sermon. Ecclesiastes talks about 3 strands are better than one. So it's a biblical thing. We weren't meant to live life alone.
Right.
And part of that is we carry each other's burdens. We help each other out. And so the idea was, if we go on a Ruck March, and the way we do it is you can do as little as 3 miles. You can do up to 12 if you want. By the way, total look behind the curtain. We don't even care if you come and walk at all. Just come and be part of it.
Right.
But because some people just can't, and they still want to be part of it, and that's okay.
I actually think that's an important piece, because, like, I remember Tom Kalita the first year did 12 miles.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm pretty sure he could have carried me all 12 miles and been fine.
Yeah.
And then I never get to walk as far as, like, I'm always like, this will be a great workout. Don't plan on it being a great workout. This is likely going to be you wander around and you find a new friend and a lot of talking.
Yeah. So we started the Ruck and allowing people to go through that physical aspect of carrying each other's burdens, but it's the same mentally, spiritually, as we're in this together. And so we started the Ruck, however many years ago it's been. We probably should have checked that before we started this, but it's all blur at this point. So that's kind of where it began.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
There's something that you mentioned right out of the gate, is that mental block that happens when you're trying to carry a heavy load, and you're looking at a finish line that doesn't seem accessible. Never been in the military or anything related to that, but have had the opportunity to carry some heavy loads out of the backwoods.
Yeah.
And there is a interesting component to, like, one of the heaviest loads we ever carried was on Kodiak Island, and it was pouring down rain, super windy. We couldn't hunt, couldn't even see the tops of the mountains. So we're like, let's carry these. Ended up being 2 caribou that 4 of us carry out. And it's me and my 2 boys and a buddy named Matt. And as we're walking back, it's a few miles back, about halfway through, I literally looked at my son and I said, dude, I don't think I can do this. Like, this is too much. And he's like, I don't know either. And Matt's like, just sit down a second and then we'll pick it up again. So we're trying to find a mound, because if you sat actually on the ground, you couldn't get back up.
Yeah.
And so we find these little mogul looking mounds, and we're all sitting there. And in 5 minutes, we're like, let's get back after it. And you go another mile or so and you sit and rest a second. Everybody looked at each other and says, all right, let's get back after it.
Yeah.
The wild thing was, when we hit the beach, we looked at each other and said, that is proof of how much more we have to give than we ever would have believed. And I think of that in a spiritual sense.
For sure.
A lot of the things that we face as humans, if we try to face those things alone, we'll never reach the capacity of what is actually available there. Someone said, and I think it was actually on a Jocko podcast, but he said that we physically exert only 40% of what our body is capable of because of the mental block that happens.
Yeah.
And so accessing that. But if you look at the spiritual realm, mountains that seem insurmountable are completely surmountable with the right people and the right support system, and with in a spirit-filled life, being able to do that. So I love the thought process behind the Ruck. I love the community component to that, that you're literally saying, hey, we're not doing this life alone. And because of churches like the Tabernacle, the last thing we want is anybody walking their spiritual life, let alone their life alone.
For sure.
And so I love the premise behind this.
What I want to ask a question, and there's something more to it, but when you were rucking out of there with the caribou, when you sat down, did you take your pack off or did you leave it on?
Leave it on.
Yeah. And I find that interesting, because I was the same way in the military. Like, I would never take it off because it's worse when you have to put it back on. So you just leave it on, right? But I found that interesting. You still were able to find relief even though the weight was still there, because you were with your bros. You took a second, and I think there's a life aspect to that too. Like, just the weight isn't necessarily going to go away of the burdens that you're carrying. That it doesn't just disappear, right? But there are ways to find relief in the midst of carrying that. And so, and part of that is being with people. Part of that is recognizing that it's there, and I can't just drop it off my shoulders and be done.
Right.
But I can still find a way to get some relief, because that's a question that people will ask sometimes. It's like, okay, well, how can I get help in the midst of this is still happening?
Right.
Or I feel it's so heavy on me, and what I'm in is so deep, it's not going to end. Well, nobody's saying that it's just going to end, that it's just going to stop. But you can still find some help in the midst of still carrying that burden.
Yeah. Man, you guys went like philosophical quick. But to that point, I have not carried a caribou out, and ruck marches are still only ruck marches at the Tabernacle for me. But I was a backpacker for a lot of years, and the one thing that I always realized is how you pack that weight matters. Like, if you pack a backpack, I got a small frame. I'm not a big dude. So if I pack 50, 60 pounds in a backpack and I do it wrong, my hips are on fire, my shoulders are toast, or I'm, constantly off balance. Sometimes it's a matter of going, hey, can you hold this long enough for me to resituate the weight? Sometimes it's just a matter of, and I remember my family will do this from time to time, like you'll just walk up behind somebody and grab the back of their backpack and give them 3 or 4 steps.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's enough. It's just like, the relief.
Yeah.
I used to do that with my kids all the time. Just grab their backpack for them for just a couple of seconds. And you get a little smile and like, I got enough to keep going at that point. And I think that that's a big piece of the community aspect of this is I'm not going to be able to fix most people's problems, but I can walk alongside them and hold the backpack for a minute, give them just some relief, maybe distract. I mean, you sent me a text the other day and I did it, like the only thing I can do is try to make you, I'm terrible. I'm the wrong friend, but my wife's looking over my shoulder. She's like, don't send that. Send. Like, at least he smiled.
Yeah.
Probably.
There's that component though, scripturally, of bearing one another's burdens.
Yeah.
And so for the law of Christ, that aspect of community support and the love that you have for a brother, I don't care who it is. Like, I may not even truly like the person. I don't want to see them struggle.
Right.
And I don't want to see them suffer.
Yeah.
And so we just naturally should be coming alongside of people and helping support that weight.
Right. Galatians 6:2, is that what you were referencing? Because I
Sure.
looked it up before this, and of course you just knew it. Yeah. But yeah, this is Holy Scriptural, and we have to remember that what we're not saying here is somehow that this is any way separate from Christ. Christ carried our burdens. Christ carries our burdens. We're always deferring back to that, but he gave us, like, Christ lives in me, and therefore I am here in the Holy Spirit for you and you for me in those moments. This is how he very practically gave us this. And we have jumped way ahead, so I'm going to pull us back for a second because I think we forgot one part is like, we walk around a lake with a backpack on. What's this actually doing? Like, what you've given us the meaning behind it, but really, what does it support? Like, I remember in the early days, there was a very distinct like desire for even the finances, because people do register and pay for this event, right? And there are shirts that go with it that are pretty sweet. Like, I got one, Adam's got one. There's a whole bunch of them that are cool. But when you look at it from that context, like, what is this? How does this support people?
So I think early on, I would say it was a suicide awareness event. Right. I think it's morphed over time, and it still is that, but it's more. You and I were talking on the phone yesterday, and I kept talking about taking action. Yeah. Awareness is great, but means nothing without action, right? I can know that there's a problem, but if I don't try and have a solution, I've done nothing, right? And so the idea is for, yes, awareness, but also to point people to resources, right? So whether you are somebody struggling with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, self-harm in general, this is for you. Right. Whether you've lost somebody to that, because there's people here that are grieving and working through that, this is for you. You just want to be prepared to help somebody. Right. This is for you. Or you're like, man, I've never thought about being involved. This is for you. We as people, Christians, men, we talk about wanting to be there for people. We talk about wanting to protect people. But what are we actually doing? Right. Most of the time, it's just talk. And so this event, the Ruck is great. And the meaning behind the weight and all that stuff is I love it. But the biggest aspect of this is people coming together, which is why we say, if you can't even walk around the lake, we don't care. Just come and be part of it. Right. The biggest aspect is bringing people together, pointing them to resources that can help them. And then also, and the biggest thing is sharing the one true hope that we actually have, which is Jesus. Right. It's pointing them to Jesus. I'm a firm believer that I think everybody should have a counselor. You should have somebody that you talk to, everybody, whether life is great or it's miserable, you should have a counselor. But the best thing we can do is point people to Jesus, because he's our only true hope. It's the only, Bill would say this, my sister-in-law would say this, it was their son, my wife, myself. The only reason we've been able to have hope through this is because of Jesus. That's it. So if we do this entire event and we don't point people to Jesus, we failed. Mm. If we do this entire event and we don't point people to actual resources for steps they can take next, we've failed. If we do this event and we don't help people to just know what to say when somebody else is struggling, we've failed. Because this isn't the type of thing where it's like, well, I don't struggle with that, so I'm not going to go. You know, like,
you are going to be impacted by or know somebody impacted by this, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it's probably because you've got your head in the dirt.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like, so God has given me so many opportunities since this to sit with people and to walk through tragic situations with people. And I'm grateful for that, because
Adam is a mildly emotional man.
I am.
I love that about him.
Only the God that we serve can take something like this and not just draw you closer to him through it, but allow you to use it to help other people to find him as well and to find peace in their life. And so God has given me so many opportunities to be with people since this, that have lost people to suicide, or just have somebody that's struggling, or maybe they're struggling themselves. But more often than not, the questions that I get are not from those that are hurting. It's from those that I know somebody hurt and I don't know what to say. Right. I don't know what to do. And so I want this event to be somewhere that if you're hurting, you can come and you can get help and you can see all these people that want to help you.
Right.
But also if you're the person that's like, I just need to know what to say, come and be part of this. We're going to have people that can walk through that with you, like give you some training. This is what you should say. Here's some things not to say. Because myself, Bill, both tell you the people we wanted to punch in the face who probably meant well, good-hearted people, but they say dumb things because they don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to make it better, but you're not making it better.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's all these aspects to this of it's not just if you struggle, come to this.
Yeah. So real quick on that, let's give at least a bit of practical there.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into everything you should say, but what are some of the things that we shouldn't say in that moment? And maybe give us just a basic, because I know you've walked through this a little bit, and I've seen it go really bad. I've watched
From me?
No.
I've seen you do this, and it's gone really poorly.
I literally remember sitting at a funeral and watching a man walk up and say, you know, the Christianism of, hey, everything's going to be okay. At least they're in heaven now. And the guy just shredded him in tears, like, because it was the wrong timing, right?
Correct.
Not the wrong thing to say, but the wrong timing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the big part of it is there are tons of biblical truths that you can say to somebody, but there's a good time to say it and there's a poor time to say it, right? The truth is when Caden passed, God was going to use it for a lot of good. Still didn't make what happened good, right? That it wasn't good that happened. But for somebody to say, God's got a plan, don't worry. Give it some time, you're going to be okay. What you're doing is you're downplaying what they're going through, for one, right? Just to assume, I'll just give it time. Because also that's part of grief is time doesn't actually heal all the wounds.
Right.
Time can help you find a new normal, but it doesn't actually stop the hurt or the pain or any of that stuff. So some things I typically tell people to say is oftentimes nothing.
Just be there.
You can literally say, bro, I know there's nothing I can say to you right now that's going to help or take away any pain, but just know I'm here and I'll be here whenever you need me to be here. And don't even feel like you have to respond to this. I know you have a lot going on. That's it, bro. There's no rocket science behind it other than I'm just here and I know there's nothing I can do or say, but I'm here.
I remember John Williams when I first got here. I was doing a funeral and he said, and it's John Williams, so I don't want to butcher his quote, but I remember him quoting Romans 8:28. All things work together for God. For good. For those that love God and called according to his purpose. And he said, you know what? That's a beautiful verse in this moment. It is not a verse you tell people. It's a verse they have to find. And that struck me in that moment because we understand God has purpose. We've seen the beautiful life-size picture of his redemption in this tragedy and what it's done in other people's lives. But you can't tell people that's coming. You have to let them see what happens. And years later, you can look back and it doesn't make it better, but it's like you and Samantha said when you started the Ruck March. We don't want this to be for nothing. We won't, because God will use all things for good. But I'm too short-sighted to ever see what that's going to look like.
That's right.
It becomes patronizing.
I think a hard part of it is when people are attempting to give their condolences or whatever, because they're uncomfortable in your hurt, they want to expedite healing. Because in a healed space, there's comfort. In a broken place, there's discomfort. And so it's always, I would say always, mostly out of a good heart, but they're trying to rush something in a space that just needs time to process. But in every circumstance of loss, with a proper placement of trust in a God Almighty, that he is good and everything works together for good, in time, you will always see a little glimpse of the why. And as people say, well, I never got to see the why. I'll see it in eternity. No, I think if you are living in a space of complete trust in an almighty God that is good, you'll see it. You'll get to see little glimpses of it. Losses that we've experienced in life, some of them brutal with miscarriages and those types of things. Within months, sometimes within weeks of just properly reminding people of the goodness of God, you'll have people swarm to you to want to talk about their experience that they've never told a soul. Because now there's a bridge built between your life and their life that otherwise they could come to you, you could tell them all the Christianese terminology, and they look at you and go, oh, that's really nice. Having experienced it, they'll listen. And I don't want that for anyone to have to experience something. But in the midst of that, you get to step back and go, okay, God, I can see a little bit of the why.
For sure.
And I'll know all of the why in eternity. But for right now, I get to see a little bit of it. And I'm thankful for what God has enabled me to experience and my spiritual growth through circumstances that I don't grow in comfort.
Yeah.
Right? I grow in these experiences. That's when the testing happens. And from those growth experiences, being able to then say, God, you're doing this and you're utilizing this. I don't want it to happen. I didn't want it to happen, but it has. And now how can we use this for your good? But I truly believe that most people, they just, they want to put the pedal down on healing so they can be back to normal.
Right.
And so it's out of a good heart, but out of a misunderstanding of what it actually takes.
Yeah, for sure.
That's real. I mean, hey, would you please stop being sad because it's very inconvenient for me?
Yeah,
like
right.
That might be the most honest way to say it.
Yeah.
Like, this is uncomfortable. Would you smile again? Like, all right. So I know that this has developed over the years, and because early on, it was almost it was. I don't think it was ever meant to be a fundraiser, but it did draw in funds that then were donated specifically to youth groups that were doing what we both. Every one of us were youth pastors. And at that time, you and I were in the depths of student ministry, and it was like, hey, I know where this work is most important. I know where this is very tangible, and we're going to support youth groups that are helping kids walk through exactly these things because we see in our teens an unbelievable increase in anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation, self-harm, and everything else. But over the years, even that's kind of changed. And I think every year you're like, this was never meant to be a fundraiser. We raise funds and we do use them, and I believe they still go. I'll let you go with that, but
yeah. Well, we've changed our mindset on that of raising funds. It's less about raising funds now and more about pointing people to resources and pointing people to Jesus. And so, I think last year we pretty much broke even. Right. I mean, it just wasn't. There was nothing, no funds really. So because we brought the price down for people to register and things like that, it's just because we want people there, right? Students cost next to nothing to go because we want them there. We want them to hear that message. And so, it used to be that we would raise money and kind of try and put that money to use in certain spots. But I've felt over the last few years I feel like it's less about that.
Right.
And more about getting the community together, getting people together, getting them resources, getting people trained or getting help for people, whatever it may be. And so, one of the things that we're trying to do this year is having people around during the event that do have some training that are able to talk with people, whether it's people that are hurting or again, people are just like, hey, I want to know, what do I say in this moment? Or I have a friend that I think is hurting or whatever. What do I do?
Right.
And so we'll have them available during the event. So you can just hang out with them and walk with them. And again, you could be the one that's hurting. You're like, man, I need to talk to somebody. Or you could just be, I just want to know how to help more.
And I know some of the people that we've kind of got on the short list, and I'm grateful because almost every one of them have walked with me in moments like this.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me. So first, I just want to hit on the practical. So what I'm hearing you say is it's not about the finances. As with everything, there's a cost to it, and we try to do a really great thing, and it is a lot of fun. Like, you can bring your kids out to this event. They're going to have a blast, and they're not going to be in a position where, like, hey, this was awkwardly put or poorly done.
Right.
It's very well put for families and other. I happen to know there are people every year that walk around the lake, and they didn't even pay to do it.
Yeah. I don't care.
And nobody ever cares. So I just want people to hear like that's not the focus, but it is cool because when there are funds, they are directed toward things that are very impactful for the community of people that are struggling the most.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought up the family aspect of it because we have tried to make sure this is family friendly. Like, this is a hard topic, certainly.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a topic we can hide from our kids.
Right.
I think that can do a disservice in time by just not talking about it. And I think that's where we get, oftentimes that's where we get well, I can't talk about this. This is the taboo subject to talk about, right? But we try and do it in a way that is family friendly, from having bounce houses and
Shaved
food
ice.
and Ohana shave ice and all of those things to make it family friendly. Like, we want you to hang out afterwards and just have some fun. Even to the speaker, us giving some guidance on here's some ways to say certain things and so that it's not, we also don't want to create havoc for you in the home with your kids.
Right. Like, we have to have a
there's
serious
tact
conversation.
So it is family friendly, but it is heavy.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about some stuff.
I'm just going to put it out there. How much Graylin weigh?
How much does he weigh?
Yeah,
39.4
39.
There's your pack.
There you go. There's your pack.
Yeah.
So you got little ones. They count, and strollers
I'm
are
pretty sure I saw
legal.
a picture of him being your weight the other day, right? Getting ready for elk season or something.
Right.
Were you carrying him?
I was carrying
Okay.
him. I'm trying. This is not supposed to be like self
That's okay.
gratifying.
But you needed more weight.
Well, I had 90 pounds in the pack already, and then they put
wow.
him on the pack, and it was funny because I had the pack perfectly positioned with the weight, and then putting him, when you were saying if you don't get it positioned right, when they put him on the meat shelf is what it was on, it like created a little bit of a lever right in the middle of my back, and anyway, but it's fun to. I don't know why I enjoy inflicting that kind of pain. It's just it's a new way of.
It is good to be uncomfortable.
It is good to be
It's
uncomfortable
good for you.
I was gonna mention too, like, one of the beautiful things of this event, having been to one last year was my first one.
Mm-hmm.
A man named Paul, I can't remember his last name. Epperson comes and speaks. You have him speak, and so big picture. As you're considering this event, know that the gospel is presented, because at the heart of any form of healing has to first be an indwelling Holy Spirit.
Yep.
And the superficial world of, and this is not, I'm not blanket stating all counselors and therapists or whatever, but the majority, if they're not a Christian directed, they're outside of the spirit realm. The soul is not a consideration in your healing. Within biblical counseling, the soul is the source, the indwelling Holy Spirit. And so as you're bringing people to this event, know it's not going to be hokey. It's Britton Bishop. He'll do a good job. I don't like him, but he'll do a great job. and so there.
I used to like him, then he left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some guy named Britton. It's weird.
So, but as I love Britton Bishop. That was just a joke for him in case he ever listened. But as he's presenting, there will be a direct correlation between spiritual healing, individual healing on a physical, mental, social level, relational level. But it's prefaced with the work of the Holy Spirit in a person's life, which I love that you can bring someone to this Ruck March. It's an outside of the church event. It's an event that will speak specifically to a different need on a spiritual level, and yet the gospel is front and center. When we talked about this, is this going to be like a yearly event? Is this a tabernacle event? As soon as I hear that Jesus Christ is the center and the gospel is the centerpiece of it, well, yes, it is. You better believe it.
Yeah.
So excited about how this is growing and what God is utilizing it for. And I think the more awareness that's out there of this is what you can expect at this event, bring people, bring them out and let them hear the gospel.
Yeah. I would echo that and just say, if you are considering like, I don't know, this is going to be a little churchy, my non-believing friend, there is 15 minutes of talking, I think, in the whole thing. And at the end of the day, I promise most people can get over that. And we are all very cognizant of the fact that there are going to be non-believers. There's going to be people there that have not yet accepted Christ. But I agree with Adam. Without that, there's only a certain level of healing that can happen. And I will also tell you that this is a trauma. These things impact in a way that needs a soul level healing. And without it, I see people consistently fall back into the same habits, the same difficulties, the same things. It might have a different name, might be a different addiction, might be a different thing, but at the end of the day, they're painful. And we've seen amazing things come of this. And I think for me, what astounds me is I never know what to expect. It was last year that Paul and I got to pray for a guy that was at the Ruck March, and it had nothing to do with all the things that we said. Like there was no mental health, there was no any of that, but he was going in to have a double lung replacement. And like, this is not the guy you expect to see at a Ruck March, right? Like double lung replacement, I'm like, maybe not walk around. And I don't know how much he was actually rucking, but he loved every aspect of the event. And there was prayer, and then to get to hear afterwards, I get to text Paul and be like, hey, I just want you to know, man, the guy we prayed for, not only have that double lung replacement, but he is well, he is healthy, he's chasing Jesus. It's an exciting thing to see how God works in these moments. And he doesn't always do it by our prescription, actually ever, but so often. And I can only imagine, the amount of impact you've been able to see, because you're definitely more directed than I am in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I always find amazing is, the people that show up with a story that you never would have guessed was their story, right? And so the connections you can make with people that are also struggle with the same things you struggle with, or that have the same concerns, and there's these relationships that can be built that go beyond the annual Ruck March, right? And it's these bonds that are then built, and these friendships that are made. Gospel friendships that can be born out of it. Going back to the Acts series again. But something that's just in my mind, and I'm jumping back a little bit with like, one of you had mentioned like, if you're the person that's like, man, I don't know if I want to invite my unsaved friend to this because it's going to be kind of churchy or whatever. I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time with it, man. I was thinking about this on the way here. So I like to think, and I don't know, but I like to think that if the time comes that I have to protect my family or protect somebody else, then I'm going to be the most savage individual on the planet in that moment, right? Like I will do whatever it takes to protect my family, to protect my friends, protect people at the church. Like I'll do whatever it takes up to give in my life. And I know so many men that say and believe the same thing. And I'm grateful because the world needs men like that. We need men that are capable of bringing violence when it's needed.
Amen.
But at the same time, we say that, but we're the same men that are afraid to invite somebody to church. We're the same men that are afraid to show up at an event like this because of what somebody might think. We will do anything it takes to protect our family except helping ourselves, which protects our family. Because you know what's more likely to happen to your family is you having an issue that you need help with than the guy breaking in at night.
Right.
Right. And so like, there's this mindset that has to change of what it looks like to be a man. And I'm not discounting women, but what I'm saying is like, we talk a big talk, but we can't be inconvenienced for a few hours on a Labor Day because, well, school starts the next day. I got to get the kids ready for school. They've been out of school for 3 months. Get over it. Right. Like,
you haven't rebuilt routine.
Yeah. It's the night before. Yeah. Calm down. You should have started last week. But I just sorry.
No, get it. That's good.
But we say these things like we want to be these manly men, but we're manly men that aren't man enough to take care of ourselves, to show up to get help, or to be inconvenienced to actually help somebody, to be prepared to help somebody. Right? Like,
yeah. I've heard it said, most men will say that they will give their life for their family. Very few men will live their life for their family. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about is, listen, every one of us comes to a point in our life where we break, where we can't carry the pack alone anymore, where we just need somebody in our world that's going to point us the right direction. We know the right direction is Christ. Are we willing to put ourselves out there? Are we willing to take that risk? Are we willing to love our friends well enough to upset them? Like, do you actually care about me enough to tell me the hard things that I need to see? Because that's the mark of friendship.
Yeah.
And we live in a place and in a time where that is real unpopular. But I'm grateful for the men in my life that will grab me by the scruff of the neck and tell me, hey, you're off track and this is the direction you go. I think this is a great example. And yeah, that applies to women as well. We just I don't know how they interact in that way, so I'm not going to talk about that. That's not for me.
If you look back at the Acts series, we were just talking not too long ago about Stephen and his martyrdom.
Yeah.
And when polled, most people would say that if they were forced to live or die because of their faith, that most of them said, yeah, I would die courageously if that's what was called, if I was called upon for that. And yet, to your point, we say we would die courageously, but we're not living courageously for Christ. We hide in the shadows. We don't stand out. We don't stand up. We don't preach the truth by our lifestyle that Jesus Christ is number one, first place in my life. And that calling should be the thing that hyper motivates us and it leads to radical transformation of the people around us. Yeah. You watch one person after the next give their life to Christ, make transformations. Family, this is a sin cycle that changes all the things that happen, and it'll get you fired up.
Yeah. I mean, you think about I remember JV saying this a long time ago. I think it was in a fight club, and he was like, the weight of a father's voice weighs most heavy on their kids. What would it look like? Think about the impact that it has. Or if you're a father and you're listening to this, for your kids to see you, 1, get help if you need it. 2, maybe you're not the one that needs help, but actually show up and be inconvenienced for a little bit and say, no, this is important. We're going to go and be part of this, or we're going to help people. It's the same as when the kid sees you carry your Bible into church.
Right.
That weighs. That's huge in their life. And so, man, apologizing to your kids is another one, right? Like, I apologize to my kids all the time because I'm dumb. But like the impact of that, and it may not be an immediate impact that you see, but your kids are going to remember those things. And again, not dogging on moms, but there's something about that father figure, watching them serve, watching them get involved, watching them be willing to sacrifice is massive in your kid's life.
And I'll tell you right now, women aren't out there, by and large, are not going, hey guys, you forgot the women. They're going, yeah, please, because I've been carrying that weight.
Yeah,
I've been the only voice in. And this happens all too often. I think it's huge when we recognize that, because our children know what we prioritize. I often wonder, I've sat in the room during a lot of the conversations preceding the funeral and talked to people's kids. And I'll ask them often, what was important to Dad? They always have an answer. A lot of times it's the car. A lot of times it was the job. Mm-hmm. Most often, they'll sneak Mom in there, but it was really how he loved Mom. It's rare when I hear them say it was Jesus 100%. And I know that, and I saw that, and I saw that, but it's beautiful when it is. I know every morning where I would find my father. He would be sitting in front of his Bible. That's what I want my kids to say someday. I wonder when our kids see our priorities, will they see other people on a Labor Day? Will those be the priorities that matter? But I think we've soapboxed this piece for a minute. Let me bring us back to starting to wind it in and wrap it up. The Ruck March is, I'm going to go ahead and just say it's been an amazing event for me, and I've walked it every year differently. Sometimes I've gotten to walk it as a student ministries pastor with a bunch of students and support there and feel like I was helping people. There's been years there I've gotten to walk it really just wanting to be there as a part of you and your family and love on you guys. More recently, I've walked it in ways that I haven't really communicated to people, but more of a direct impact to me and recognizing oh, okay, I didn't realize how close to home this actually was. There isn't a one reason to do this. But every year I walk away from it and I ask the same question. It's what can I do now? Mm-hmm. What can I do after the Ruck? What more can I do to impact this? Because suicide, mental health, people are broken and hurting, and they all need to be pointed to Jesus. And maybe you're out there and you're like, well, I know what you do. You talk on a microphone some days and point people to Jesus, and you work in a church and you're helping do this. Those are probably not the most direct things I do in my life. that impact this. So Adam, I'm going to ask you, what does it look like? And then Adam, I'd love to hear your perspective as well. What can we be doing outside of, after the Ruck, around the Ruck? First off, invite people to the Ruck and show up to the Ruck. But after that, what does it look like to make an impact in this part of the world?
Yeah, I think each of us has a responsibility to do whatever work it takes to be prepared to help people. Being willing to help them. If you're willing to help them, that means you're willing to be prepared to help them. You have a responsibility to do that. And what that means is, again, finding the resources that it takes for you to be prepared, but also being able to have an answer for the hope that you have. Weird. It's almost like the Bible says that, right? There's no magical thing that you need to do, but it's showing up and just being willing and prepared to help people. And maybe it looks like inviting them to church. Maybe it looks like inviting them to coffee, checking in on them, just being that person that can just be there. You don't have to have all the words. I think that's part of taking action, is being able to step into those uncomfortable places where things are not just okay. And I think it starts with something like this. So like, if you don't know where to start, come hang out with us. We're going to help you with where to start. But it doesn't end at the Ruck. This is the kind of like church is like, hey, we come here, we get fed, and we are disciples, and we're learning to be disciples, and we're learning what it looks like to follow Jesus. And then we go out and we spread that gospel, right? Being a Christian isn't just coming to church, it's living it. Church is just where we come and get prepared to do that. It's the same with something like this. Like, this isn't where you come to have your problems fixed or to get all the information you need, but let this be a starting point to help you in that journey. Or maybe you've come every year, come back, and this can be that recharge maybe that you needed or something like that. And so I don't know if that's the question that you're asking me, but that's the answer that I'm giving you.
No, that is. I'm actually going to come back to it in just a second. I want to hear what Adam's got to offer there, but I think we're going to end with that verse that you referenced.
1 Peter 3:15. That's where I was going to go as well.
Yeah.
Be ready always to give a defense or an answer. But the conclusion of that statement, the conclusion of that statement is the reason for the hope that is in you. And as Christians, our first step of help is living hopeful because of the person of Jesus Christ. There are always going to be people in the shadows, the person that attempts to sit by themselves. We had a policy in student ministry forever. No one sits alone. And you'd always have that kid that comes the first time and they hide in the corner and first one to try to be out the door when things are over. And so we'd make it as awkward as we possibly could. We'd move youth group right over to the corner where they're sitting or whatever it took, you know. But when you have eyes that you're prayerfully considering each day, God, would you give me eyes like Christ had on this earth to see the people that need the help? It's places that are completely out of the ordinary and awkward where he'll give you those eyes. There's scenarios like Sunday evening, we're driving to a barbecue event and there's a lady sitting on the side of the road by one of those roadside crosses with the flowers. There's no car, there's no anything. She's just sitting there with her hands in her head in her hands. That one didn't take a lot to see that there was something needed there. There's times at gas stations where you just watch someone by their body language and their attitude that they need hope, and it doesn't always relate to an opportunity for the gospel. But my goal before they leave is to watch to elevate their eyes and look up a little bit. And so there's just, to me, that first step is recognizing that we have a responsibility to live in the hope that Christ has given us and to let that overflow from our everyday lives. That's first step. And then if we get opportunity to get in the nitty gritty, there's so many steps to help a person walk along that. When you've had a person sit in your office and say, hey, I think I'm going to take my own life, you will get to work figuring out what are the answers from that point on, to be able to help them in those next steps.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Before you end with that verse, I know we're wrapping up. I text Bill and said, hey, we're going to record a podcast about the Ruck. Is there anything you want me to say? And he responded with, I think I've said it before, but tell them, don't be stupid. And so I'm going to clarify for Bill what I think he means. And I think it's this. If you are in a place where you're hurting, it's okay. If you're in a place where you have anger, depression, anxiety, it's okay. Confusion, it's okay. If you're having those thoughts, it's okay. But it's not okay to stay there. It's not okay to sit in that. It's not okay to not get help. That's not okay. It's okay that you're there. It's not okay to stay there. So don't be stupid means get involved. It's not okay to just remain in that. We're not supposed to. Get some help. Reach out to somebody. Come to the Ruck and use the resources that are available. If you're feeling that pull to be involved somehow, some way, it's not okay to not do anything about it. So again, if you don't have to be the person that's hurting to show up. You don't have to be the person that's grieving to show up. You don't have to be the person that knows somebody right now that's hurting. But at some point, you probably will be. Either you'll be the person hurting or you're going to know somebody that is. And so don't be stupid. Get involved. Let's take action together, because awareness without action doesn't do a whole lot.
That's good. Amen. Yeah, the only way I think that can end is scripture. We are going to do a different verse because Adam already quoted that verse, which I think is exactly where we're headed. But 2 Corinthians also speaks to this. It says, he comforts us in all our affliction, so that we may be able to comfort those who are in any kind of affliction through the comfort we ourselves received from God. Yeah. That's what this whole thing's about. At the end of the day, what we go through, God won't waste. He'll use it if we let him. This will be a great opportunity to be able to share that. So I hope, genuinely hope, that you're out there and you're hearing this. And
where can they register, Martin?
And you have connected to this in some way. You can register on the Tab website. You can register on the Tab app. You can register by one of the posters with a cool QR code if you're young and hip enough to know how to do that. I'll bet you we'll even put a link in the show notes to that, and maybe even the song we referenced earlier. There's a lot of ways to get connected. But if you're out there, I'm just going to invite you personally. Would you consider just coming out and rucking with us? I do believe that we'll all be there. I'm not sure, you might have something going on, but
I will be rucking, but hopefully in British Columbia on a mountainside.
that's fair.
So
I know most of us want to ruck with him, but come ruck with us. We'll be doing this, and would love to hear your stories. Love to be able to walk that with you. And if not us individually,
Matt Hughes will be there, so that makes up for it.
Actually, I'm his pack back this year.
His weight.
Yeah, he's just gonna carry me. We've done it before, so
there you go. I like it.
Awesome. Well, Tab family, thank you so much for joining us today. Share this. Connect this with people, because I promise you, if this was impactful to you, it's impactful to others. If you don't have the guts to hit the share button, then I can't help you with anything else either. But share it, resend it, whatever it is, subscribe, do all the things that help this get to people that need it. We don't really care how many people hear our voice. We just want to make sure they hear the voice of God. So if we can be a vessel, you just hit send and share. We love you. Take care. This is Tabernacle Podcast signing out.